Warning. This creepypasta is not for kids. It may contain disturbing content. Viewer discretion is strongly advised. If you're sensitive to horror, gore, or psychological themes, turn back now.
It all started with a rumor, the kind that circulates in forgotten corners of lost media forums, buried between threads about unaired pilots and test screenings that never happened. Someone mentioned an earlier version of The Nightmare Before Christmas, one that wasn't made by Disney at all, but by Universal Studios in late 1991, 2 full years before the world would meet Jack Skellington. This version wasn't called The Nightmare Before Christmas. It went by another name, The Spirit of Halloween. No record of the film appears in any official Universal archive, and the only evidence anyone had for years were a handful of decayed VHS screenshots that looked wrong. They showed crude string puppets instead of stop-motion figures, each one with stretched faces and hand-painted eyes that reflected too much light. The strings were visible, intentionally visible. Some claimed like the puppets were aware of them. But the strangest detail was the title card. It wasn't typed. It looked like someone had carved the words "The Spirit of Halloween" into a wooden door and filmed it up close. The A in Halloween dripped, as if the wood itself was bleeding. According to scattered accounts, Universal had planned this film as a Halloween showcase, meant to introduce a world where 14 holiday doors connected to parallel ends far more than the 7 seen in the 1993 movie. These included Harvest, Moonlight, Eastertide, and one cryptically labeled The Forgotten. Each door was meant to be visited by a different puppet spirit, who served as a guardian of that realm. Then the project was abruptly cancelled. No one at Universal would ever acknowledge the Spirit of Halloween, but an alleged former Disney sound editor, who went by the name Geraldine, on message boards in the early 2000s, claimed to have worked on the restoration of the audio reels when Disney acquired the concept later. In one of his posts, he mentioned that the narrator of the 1991 version was an employee at Disney Studios, not a professional actor, but a writer and animator who volunteered for the role after Universal lost their original voice cast. Gerald wrote, "He wasn't reading lines. He was confessing. You can hear it in his tone. He sounds like a man who'd seen something he shouldn't have." He calls himself "the keeper of the door" near the end of the reel. And he says he doesn't dream anymore. The surviving footage was supposedly discovered in 2008 inside the decayed film canister labeled "Spirit of Halloween 91 Test," found in a Universal backup storage unit set for demolition. The person who uploaded it to archive or claimed the reel smelled like vinegar and iron, and that half of the magnetic audio had fused to the film itself. Within a week of the upload, the link disappeared. The uploader's account was deleted, and the backup copy reportedly burned onto a DVD surfaced briefly on an obscure auction site before being purchased by an untraceable bidder using an email with the domain @spirithollow.com. That's where most stories end, just rumors and screenshots. But if you listen closely to some of the degraded clips still floating around, you can hear a faint whisper behind the narrator's voice, a second one, lower, distorted, almost like it's coming from inside the puppet strings themselves. It's said to repeat one phrase, just before the audio cuts out. The door was never meant to open. How I found it: I wasn't looking for the Spirit of Halloween. I was looking for something else entirely, a copy of a local Halloween broadcast from 1994 that supposedly had an unaired Disney Halloween treat segment. My search led me deep into an old collector forum that hadn't been updated since 2012. Most of the threads were long dead, but one caught my eye: Universal's Nightmare 1991 Halloween promo reel, lost. At first, I thought it was just another fan theory about Tim Burton's early concepts. But the post was different. It included a grainy image, a yellow puppet with a slit mouth and hollow eyes dangling from visible strings. The file name was spirit_take1.jpg. The user who uploaded it went by the name KeeperOfReel13. Their profile had no info, no posts before or after that thread. The only reply they ever made said, "Don't try to digitize it. The film doesn't want to be copied." That should have been enough to close the tab right there. But I couldn't stop thinking about it. A few months later, while browsing through a flea market outside Anaheim, I came across a small table selling old VHS tapes, local news recordings, unmarked demo reels, even old Universal promos. The vendor was an older man who claimed to have cleaned up storage lockers for the studio back in the day. Most of it was junk. But in the corner of one of the bins, beneath the cracked clamshell case for Land Before Time, I saw a tape with no label, just a strip of masking tape across the spine. Written on it in faded red marker were the words, "Spirit of Halloween Test Copy, 91. When I asked how much it was, the vendor looked at it for a long time before shrugging. "You don't want that one," he said. "That one's not right." He sold it to me for $5 anyway. When I got home, I almost didn't play it. The tape was old, sticky with that faint metallic smell VHS plastic gets when it's been sitting in damp air too long. I decided to check the first few seconds, just to see if it was even watchable. Before I hit play, I noticed something strange on the spine, the small embossed Universal logo, but scratched over with something sharp. Over it, someone had written a single word in black pen. Disney. That made no sense. Universal and Disney didn't cross-label tapes. That's when I noticed something else on the bottom corner of the cassette was a tiny sticker with numbers written in black type. 14/14. I didn't think much of it then, but I would later learn that the film supposedly featured 14 doors, one for each holiday realm. When I finally put the tape into my old VCR, it didn't start with a logo or even static. Just a faint hum. Hello, an even tone that sounded like an old air conditioner trying to start up. Then just before the image appeared there was a voice, muffled, distant, saying something like, "We'll try it one more time. Keep the strings tight this time." Then the hum deepened into a rumble that shook the speakers. That's when I saw the first frame of the title card. But I'll get to that soon.